Putting together a show at Herndon Theater is a very collaborative process. You have your production team, which is your stage managers, head and assistant stage managers, and your student director, plus the adult director, and our choreographer, our music director, and more for our musicals. What we like to do is let everyone have a say. Whether it's actors, technicians, or production team members, every voice is valued here at Herndon Theater.
You get to meet so many people. It's a great community. Everyone's always very warm, very welcoming. There's a lot of big events. We draw a lot of people in. We have had Broadway actors come in to do workshops. We've had people from AMDA, which is a Performing Arts Academy, come in, talk to us. So you're getting to know these people in the real world if you're ever interested in going into both the tech, direction, or acting.
I've been in theater for all 4 years of high school and in middle school. I played mainly comedic characters. In Kiss Me Kate, I was one of the gangsters, and that's a very comedic character. And Macbeth is very much not a comedic show. It's very serious. I kind of saw this opportunity to go into a different kind of acting, telling a darker story, a more serious story, and to play a more serious character.
Now, you don't have to be in a class to participate in a show, as long as you are willing to show up to rehearsal, have a part in just this whole community of people, then you're always welcome.
There is head and assistant for all of our sections of tech. We have lighting, we have sound, we've got costumes, we have props.
I started taking Theater 1 and Theater 2 in high school and started acting in the shows, but then I realized kind of this wasn't for me. So I believe last year I started to do kind of backstage stuff, and I realized I like hair and makeup, I like dressing people up.
As the head of the sound department, I mainly focus on mixing microphones, music, and working with orchestras and musicians to make sure that everything can be as audible and as immersive as possible in the theater.
I took theater class on a whim because I'd seen a play and I wanted to know more about what is theater. And what I didn't know was that class would change the rest of my life. Why should one do theater? Well, you never know what it's going to do and what path it's going to put you on. It could be something as simple as you discovered something about yourself you didn't know, whatever that thing is. Theater Arts 1 is a class that is predominantly freshmen. Doesn't have to be, but it's a first-year course that I do encourage students who are first coming into high school to take. Obviously, the types of students that take that class are people who have a little bit of interest in theater. We can hope that they took theater in middle school. As someone who used to teach middle school theater and drama, I always tried to prepare my students in 7th and 8th grade for high school courses. But this is a class that is ensemble driven at its very core. When I talk about the class in the first couple of days and weeks, I say we're going to do everything together for a while. Then we're going to do things in small groups. Then we're going to do things by twos. And then we're going to end the year by yourself. And that entire philosophy of the 4-week quarter is designed to say there's safety in numbers and comfort in all of us, everything, all the time, to be able to stand up by yourself at the very end and do that solo project. One of the things that most kids fear the most in the arts or theater is getting up by themselves, having to perform, all eyes on me. What do I say? What do I do with my hands? How do I look? What are people thinking? And I try to break down those fears and break down those challenges by showing them and modeling for them as one of the people in the program and in the class with them, that everything is ensemble driven. I'm not going to ask you anything that all of us aren't doing together. I'm not going to ask you to do anything that I'm not doing with you. And so I think they learn those basic skills. We start off with a lot of games, exercises, songs, activities that teach focus, concentration, trust, and My games are always, I call it the Mr. Miyagi School of Theater, right? They don't realize that when I'm teaching them to paint the fence or to wax on, wax off, to steal from the Karate Kid, that the basic skills I'm doing in some game that's about focus or concentration, that is a skill they're going to use again and again and again in their scene work and on stage. So I try to front end the months and weeks of my Theater 1 classes with basic skills of performance and confidence and singing together and acting together and playmaking together. It's all the best of creative drama. Like, no matter where you are, Theater 1 is that base. So that's why it could be great for anyone from freshmen through seniors.
I chose Theater 1 because I've always loved expressing myself through theater. I love being on stage, I love having the audience, and it was just such a eye-opening experience to be in theater and perform. I came from the middle school, Herndon Middle School. I did theater my 2 years there with Miss Loy. Then on coming here, I was so super excited to be part of the productions, to be part of the shows. It's just such an amazing experience. You make so many friends. Even if you are like super shy or you aren't comfortable on stage, you can still find a place in theater because there are people here who are super shy and there are people here who are super outward, and everyone performs, everyone has a great time.
It's kind of a mixture of like a history class and a lot of fun. So the beginning of the school year, we started with a lot of like typical theater like warm-ups. We learned a lot of warm-ups, a lot of tongue twisters. And then we learned about Greek theater, and we had a test on that. And then we got into our improv unit, which basically just taught us to just go with the flow.
So the thing with theater is that it doesn't really matter about your personality, but I'd say that if you had an outgoing personality, or if you're like also like a secluded sort of private person, that theater might just be the best way to go, because it's something that sort of forces you to step out of your comfort zone, and it's a situation that like can make you feel uncomfortable, but not in the bad way, in a good way. And sometimes you need just a little bit of discomfort. Like, that is a life skill that you need to really succeed, just to be able to get uncomfortable with things and deal with it.
I do theater just to help myself grow and help me, like, you know, crawl out of the box I used to be in. And it's helped me a lot to really become the person I am and show my true personality with my friends and family.
If you're thinking about Theater 1, I would absolutely recommend it. It's so much fun. I didn't go to Herndon Middle School, and so I've gotten to meet this new group of people, and it's just such a great community to get to be a part of and to grow with, and I'm really excited to be in it for the next 4 years. You know, Mr. Pafumi, he's a great director, and he's a great person to work with, so I'm really glad to be in this class.
So Theater 2 is a place where you want to come back after being in Theater 1. It's that time when you're like, okay, I went through all the initial hoops and hurdles of what it is to be a theater student, and now I'm ready for more. I try to take my Theater 2 class to the next level of the individual performer and actor. We also get into some more advanced theater concepts, including Shakespeare. We do an entire unit on Shakespeare. We do an entire unit on the Italian Renaissance style of clowning called Commedia dell'arte, which is the art of the Actors Guild, the original player troops out of Europe. So we learn about archetype and plot scenarios and situational comedy. So that's a whole unit. We work with mask, so that's great. We also, in Theater 2, do a more advanced work on a competitive one-act. So we are part of the Virginia High School League One Act Play Festival every year in the winter. A project like that is wonderful training for a theater student, because it's not just about performing, but it's about being in the ground up of developing a piece and creating the piece together and having a real connection to it. Theater 2 is a step up, obviously, from Theater 1 in terms of advanced curriculum. We explore the classical theater, the contemporary theater world. We perform in a competitive one act. We take that show on the road. And hopefully by now they're auditioning for the shows outside of class. We're hoping that they want to be in the shows in leading or supporting roles. The sophomore year is a fun year. It's probably one of my favorite groups and ages, because they're more settled. They're not stressed about the worries of upperclassmen. They've gotten through that first year. It's a very settled class, the sophomores. So I highly recommend Theater 2 for the performing arts student that's ready to take their training to the next level. By the time a student is a junior or senior, they have this great opportunity to take an honors course. So something a couple years ago that we developed out of the Office of Curriculum and Fine Arts was Honors Theater 3 and Honors Theater 4. So they get a 0.5 grade boost on any grade that they get in the course. The students who take Theater 3 and 4 are definitely the leaders of the program, whether a junior or a senior. Some of my seniors are Theater 3s because they started late in the program, maybe started taking theater as a sophomore in Theater 1. But I would say the students that are in Theater 4 and are seniors, those are my stalwarts of the program. They're typically what we call our officers of the Thespian Honor Society, which is a troop that we develop as part of the extracurricular program. We are troop number 3260, recognized with the International Thespian Honor Society organization. And students elect their peers to serve in offices of president, vice president, treasurer, historian, secretary. So a lot of those students are in that advanced Theater 3-4 class. The big project that's overarching in the whole first semester of that course is called the Acting Directing Project. So traditionally, the Theater 3s are the actors and the Theater 4s are the student directors. The Theater 3s have to research an author and a play and a monologue and present a research-based PowerPoint presentation in the early weeks of school, and then eventually they have to do a monologue for the Theater 4 directors. The Theater 4s have to hone in on a playwright and a play and a scene that they want to do as a cutting or presentation. Their scene's usually 5 to 10 minutes long, and it's usually from something that they're very passionate about, a style of theater, a genre. Now again, if you're a Theater 4 senior, you've been working with me now for 3 years, you've been in the main stages, you've been on the shows, you've been to New York, or maybe Chicago as one of our field trips, you've been into the DC theater scene, you've been studying all different kinds of styles of theater. So as a senior, I hope for them to pick plays and playwrights that they're passionate about, and they have to come up with what's called a directing concept. They pitch that concept to the whole class, and they tell the whole class, this is the scene I'm going to do. So when the Theater 3s audition for the 4s, then they get to also say on their audition sheet what play they're most interested in based on what the Theater 4s pitched as their concept. Once we get through all the 3s auditions and we do a little mock callbacks, then the Theater 4s fight for who gets who. So we are now in December, right before holiday break. We've started to see the finishing pieces of the Theater 4 directing scenes, and we'll see a couple more when we come back in January. And then what's really fun is after we've seen all the directing scenes, then the class votes, and they choose their top 4 scenes based on votes, and then those will go be part of the night of one acts. So second half of the year of Theater 3-4 is fun projects. We do a musical theater research project. They get themselves into small musical theater scenes. We do a long form improv. I do improv every year, but with the advanced kids it's called long form, which is more scenario driven, less about comedy and more about sketch. They do a little bit of a playwriting unit. And then we always end the year with what I call a music and movement project, where they have to tell a story with a small group of people with music. And it's all done. It doesn't have to be dance, it just has to be creative movement. And I usually give them a theme. So this year's theme is rebellion, so perhaps our movement pieces will be all about rebellion. And they have to find just the right music to tell that story. So again, Theater 3-4, that's the top of the program. That's where all your leaders are going to be. It's an honors course, so certainly you can get some extra credit there for your college transcripts. But it's also a course where we've known each other a long time. So our conversations at the beginning of class are always spirited and always come with some kind of great interchange between teacher and student, and those are the kids that I probably know the best.
As a senior, I decided to go back into theater. So while taking my Theater 3-4 class, I'm also taking Tech 3. So now I've done both sides of theater. I'm in both sides of theater currently, and it is so much fun. The community is so kind.
I try to use my tech theater classes as a lab, as a training ground for teaching the students every skill that I have and I know about the technical areas. In order for students to work with all these hands-on tools, they got to go through training. They have to go through safety tests, through the manuals and the safety manuals, as well as the hands-on in the shop. I think most kids who take tech theater, they're just so excited to go and build something or make something or learn how things work. If they're like me when I was a kid, I love to take things apart and put them back together so that I learned all the pieces. I've always had that interest. So in my many years in this job, I've learned how to not only take everything apart and put it back together, but how to teach that. So we do a lot of problem solving in tech theater. You start off as a first-year tech in my Theater 1 tech class, and that is a lot of hands-on, a lot of safety. If you like what you've learned in tech theater and all the basic units of lighting, sound, set, props, marketing, costuming, which we dabble into a little bit of everything, then when you come back as a second-year student or third-year student, you're now getting more experience getting deeper into that field. We dig deeper into design from the creative process. I also use my second and third and fourth year techs, if I have them, and there's only a couple of them that do it all 4 years, but they're teachers and mentors. So much about tech theater is the craft and passing the craft down. If you've learned something, then I always say teach that to somebody. You can learn it, but you don't really know it until you've taught it. So anytime someone learns a new trick on the lighting board, or they learn a new stitch, or they learn a new way to dye fabric, or to put together a flat or a platform, or whatever the thing is, it's time to take somebody under your wing and teach them how to do it as well. So much about tech theater is apprenticeship in the trades. Again, I like to be a little bit someone who knows a little bit about all of it, and I have to be one of those teachers that at any minute has to run up to the booth and solve the lighting board issue or the sound issue. And I take great pride in all the many years in classes and courses I've taken to learn how to do those things better and better.
The reason why I chose tech theater is because, I've always been creative and always loved creating things and just helping more so behind the scenes rather than just like being on stage. I've been in a few different positions in tech over the years. I've helped with sound, stage crew, and for our fall production this year, I was assistant stage manager.
It's cool to see, like, it just starts with scraps and then you make something like a set piece that, like, a lot of our pieces have been made into shows because it's just helpful and it's like a fun project, and it teaches us a lot about not only like theater but building. Our most recent project in Tech Theater 1 is this like set, and we get to just choose a scene from whatever the Theater 1 class is doing. So this year they did Christmas Carol, so we chose the graveyard scene.
There's so much creativity that goes into it, from like brainstorming to building to like picking out costumes to sewing. I love the creative aspect of it and the just endless sandbox of possibilities. My interests are in lighting. I love designing like the stage and making sure everything's lit up and all like the fun things you can do with like the colors and the effects and like the spotlights.
I have been in tech for a very rewarding 4 years straight, and as the head of the sound department, I mainly focus on mixing microphones, music, and working with orchestras and musicians to make sure that everything can be as audible and as immersive as possible in the theater.
When I first started here, I thought I need to do something that I enjoy, but something also that's sort of new. And I've only ever taken tech class one other time in, I think, middle school. And there I made a lot of new friends, so I decided, why not take it in high school and make more friends? Turns out I had a lot of friends already here, so I got to add those to my now bigger friend group. It was very nice getting to, once again, work with my hands and actually create things for others to use. As I've stated before, I used to like acting, and acting not as much anymore since I have a much more stage fright. But I do very much still like acting, especially when I have props and things, which I also love creating.
The highest you can get, the top dog you can go to is, of course, the head stage manager, but you can't just hop right into it. There's a lot of stepping stones that lead you towards that. As the head stage manager, my duties are, of course, the care and general managing of not only our cast, but also our crew. I focus a lot more on the crew, while our student director focuses a lot more on the cast. Come in as a freshman and you start out, maybe you're on just the stage crew, the run crew, whatever you want. And then you start to be able to work your way up. That's when you start, going for positions like maybe tech director or assistant heads of some of our tech sections, whatever it may be. And then junior year, that's when you are able to apply for assistant stage manager. And of course, that is directly under my position, meaning you are second in command. Now, of course, you do need that prior experience to be in that position, so it is definitely something you work towards throughout your high school years. The rehearsal process, towards the end of it, is definitely where I get to step into my light. The beginning of the process is definitely more of our directors' time to do their thing, but after a while, that management really starts getting going, and especially when we get to our weekend stuff, I get to do all my fun stuff. So in our tech crew, there is, of course, me, and then I have 2 assistant stage managers. I'm training them to eventually be me. There is head and assistant for all of our sections of tech. We have lighting, we have sound, we've got costumes, we have props, and we also have a separate part of tech for a tech director. That person, they've got a lot of the same stuff going on as I do, but they are directly focused with technicians only.
I'm Carson. I'm the tech director. What originally drew me here, because my dad was a carpenter, he's for 20 years. We build a set. We're working on a big ramp right now, and we have 4 platforms and 2 other smaller ramps, some staircases, and lots of trees. We look for people who are handy, that can lift heavy things. For example, some of the lumber that we use is really heavy, like the 3/4 inch ply. We need people who can work and be able to hold drills and screw in nails. I have my input on the set, but mainly our stage manager and our director have put ideas in, put it all together, and then they tell me to build it.
As the head of costumes, I kind of work very closely with both the actors and the stage managers for this production to make sure that our dreams are coming true and that the people can really get into their character and that our audience can really see the characters come to life. Even before the production starts, I'm given the concept, so Apocalyptic Macbeth, and I worked with that luckily over the summer, so I was able to come up with kind of a slideshow of different ideas, what different apocalypses could look like. We landed on a kind of nuclear apocalypse, so that kind of brings in, like, you're trying to look for a survivor look. After I come up with kind of the first ideas, I start drafting up costume concepts, and then I present those to my team, and we workshop them a little bit before we finally hand them off to the directors, so they can look at them and see, like, this is what we want, here's what we want to change a little bit. From there, I work very closely with my assistant heads, and we start getting our fabrics, we start getting samples, we get concepts put into like actual physical costumes that people can try on.
So this is a pair of pants that one of our actors brought in. And these are actually inside out, which is one of the things we've done with some of our pieces. It just creates like a dingier feel. We've got the exposed seams. We've done a lot of distressing where we'll just cut holes and then we'll throw some dye at it. So this one's very, very bloody, very war-torn.
This is the jacket that Duncan wears, the king. He dies, he's I think the first death in the entire show. And what we really wanted to do was take what the king would have been wearing before the apocalypse and then put it through an apocalypse. So I hand drafted and tailored a coat to fit our king, our Duncan, and then what we did is we just distressed it as much as possible. So it would look like a normal coat, but then it looks like we took a bunch of feral cats to it. So we wanted to make sure that it looks like it's been through fights.
We are taking measurements, we are getting preferences, allergies. A lot of people have like latex allergies, so we need to be very careful in working with these actors to make sure they're both comfortable and having a good time. On days when actors come in, we have something called a costume parade, where they wear their big final pieces and we present it in front of everybody so that everyone can see what the final product looks like. This is where we make our small changes. We want to have a different color come in, if we want to try a different fabric on somebody or like swap out a coat. That is when we do it. From there, it is just like a go. Costumes are going to be worn every single day from there. It means a lot to me to have like this small little team create something that's so big and so meaningful and really brings a play or musical to life. And it's just a very lovely thing that I hope to share with everybody.
My name is Michaela. I am head of lights for Herndon High School's theater department. This is my very first year working as head of lights. I started last year. My first production working as a spotter was Fiddler on the Roof. My very close friend Isabella didn't have anyone to pass the torch down to, so she kind of just asked me if I was interested, and I was. So the last 2 months of school, she taught me everything that she really knew, and I got to learn a lot about programming lights, cues, as well as doing all the spotlights and stuff. I'm teaching them how to spot because that was what I did last year, and I'm also doing a lot of learning in the moment. So our director and our director assistant, they are constantly on the telex with me. I'll have headphones during our rehearsals. They'll tell me they need a blue cyc, which is kind of the wash that I have right now. They need it red, whatever. All the ideas that they have, I write them down, and I just create a story with the lights. A lot of the consideration that we kind of go through for colors, we associate a lot of feelings with colors. So this production has a lot of anger, a lot of murder, so we associate red with that color. Lady Macbeth's monologues. I do a red kind of psych. All the LEDs I will turn into not a bright red, but a darker version of that red. And especially for those monologues, they talk about their feelings and how he wants to become king and all the steps that they're going to take so that they can achieve that. It's a lot of thinking, so I'll kind of put in some orange maybe. I have fun with all the different colors. It also has to do a lot with what the character is wearing. So Lady Macbeth, she wears a lot of light blues and whites. So I kind of think of colors that contrast red and white, which a lot of the time is just darker colors, like red, like darker blacks. I like to surround Lady Macbeth with darker colors or have her just spot lit so that when she's wearing a lot of white, she shines when everything else isn't as bright. And then another character that we do a lot of lighting for, or characters, are the witches. They're usually all three on the stage at once. Obviously, I think a lot of people associate kind of green with witch, and that's fun, but I've also been kind of thinking about what other colors we could incorporate with the green, like purple. So that's a lot of what we do when we think about the colors on stage.
As of right now, I am light crew, and in light crew, I work the stage left spotlight. In my theater journey, what I've done is I took Theater 1 last year, my freshman year. I'm now a sophomore. I took Theater Appreciation in 7th grade, then Advanced Theater in 8th grade. And some of the stuff that goes on here, especially in lighting and doing the spotlight, is you really have to get to know the production. You have to know where people are going to be. You have to listen to the people who are going to tell you where they want you to spot, where they want you to focus on in the scene. Something we also do with Spotlight in the light crew is we have these little films called gels, and they all have different colors for different scenes. So like in Macbeth, there are a lot of, fighting, gruesome scenes. So then for a scene like that, we might have to use a red gel.
Hey, I'm Lynn Milkowitz. I'm the head of the Herndon High School Theater Sound Department, and this booth is where we conduct most of the operations for our tech department. As the head of the sound department, I mainly focus on mixing microphones, music, and working with orchestras and musicians to make sure that everything can be as audible and as immersive as possible in the theater. I joined the tech class and immediately immediately hit it off with a lot of other people. Sound is a very involved position where you mostly interact with actors rather than other techies due to the amount of proximity you have to spend with the actors, putting microphones on and off them. As a part of your job, you need to manage the audio equipment to make sure that everything is working, adjust the levels of every microphone, and the levels of the speakers in the auditorium. I feel like sound is one of the most interesting positions because without sound, a large theater such as ours would not be as immersive as it could. And it is a necessary job where the less noticeable your work is, the better. And I think that's the coolest part of it.
Hi, I'm Danny and I'm an ASM and props master at Herndon High School. A major part of being a props master is just kind of finding all of those little pieces that show up in the show and just kind of make an appearance and really making the show as authentic as possible. This here is our props room, and this is where we kind of store everything that we're not using. And part of being the props master is I need to just dig through this room and find everything that we need in our show. There are some props in the show that we just don't have currently because they're very niche to Macbeth. And so we've had to buy some, we've had to make some, and that's one of the most fun parts of this job is that I get to just kind of do that. So some of the things we've made are the torches that make an appearance in the show, and the little quills and the notebooks and just those little things you don't really notice, but they're always there. We've bought some really cool chalices and mugs and things for the people to carry around, and it's just been super fun to try to find. So generally when we're trying to find things to get for props, our first thing is always to make them. We always try to make our props here. It's always super fun, and it's really great to try to keep everything within the theater department. But when we can't make things like the chalices or things that are kind of just more difficult, we tend to just find them on Amazon. We just look online and we search up whatever we're looking for, and then we browse until we find something we like. This is my 5th main stage in general that I've ever worked on. I've worked as an ASM, I've worked as a co-stage manager, I've worked as an assistant head of sound, and now I'm currently working as a props master, and it's been super fun all around.
My job as the weapons master is I have to make sure nobody roughhouses and fools around with the swords or the staffs. When they need it, I sand them down and make sure that they're not sharp or they don't have any splinters.
During the whole production of McBee, we had a fight choreographer, Ian. And throughout the whole process, we got our different swords and weapons and daggers and all that kind of stuff assigned to us with our little name tags. And throughout the entire show, we got more comfortable with those weapons and got more comfortable with fight choreography. So fight choreography and dance choreography are really similar. So obviously you know dance choreography, you do a little dance, you know all the steps and all that kind of stuff. Fight choreography is really similar. So you have the same moves and you have the same actions with you and your partners. And once you get really comfortable with those, you can start doing it faster and make different grunts and sounds while you do it, so it looks like you're fighting each other on stage and it looks like you're in a battle, but no one's actually being harmed or nobody's in danger.
Hi, I'm Izzy. I'm head of hair and makeup for Macbeth, and I lead a team on how to do makeup and braid hair and do smoky eyes and all that. So for Macbeth, we kind of wanted to go along with the apocalyptic look and match kind of the leather and kind of work boots kind of vibe. So we went for more of a gothy emo look. For the soldiers, we're gonna do big hair, big eye makeup. For witches, we wanna have prosthetics for noses, warts, big eye makeup, and we wanna have a cat witch, a bat witch, and a toad witch, just to kind of feed into those magical elements within Macbeth. For most of the other actors, they will just be doing very light smoky eyes and very light hair styles, just to make sure that they can keep the same look throughout the whole show. So I started theater when I was pretty much in elementary school. It was introduced to me and I really fell in love with it. I started to act when I was in middle school, and I was dead set on being an actor. I started taking Theater 1 and Theater 2 in high school, and started acting in the shows, but then I realized kind of this wasn't for me. So I believe last year I started to do kind of backstage stuff, and I realized I like hair and makeup, I like dressing people up. So if you enjoy like being a part of a big production, being a part of a big team, I would say just tech in general, but if you're especially like, I really love to braid hair, I really love to, you can just have one aspect. You can say, I really love to braid hair, but I don't really like to do makeup, or I really love to do eyeliner, but I don't really love to braid hair. It could be either one, because we have many people that are in many different specialties. We have, even if you like special effects, we have a lot of that going on. We have a lot of scar wax and wounds and prosthetics, all of that. So there's really a place for everybody in hair and makeup, whether or not you like actually doing makeup or actually doing hair. You could also we do beards as well, so we do work with spirit gum and all of that. So it's really just kind of, do you like to create something? Are you inspirational?
In an audition, the first thing you're going to want to do, apart from picking out a monologue, is come to the audition workshop. At the workshop, we will explain everything that's going to go down in the audition itself, as well as for a musical, teach songs and dances that you'll need to learn for the audition. One of the most important things is to make sure you're as prepared as you can be. We help everyone prepare at our audition workshops, and we try to make it a very comfortable space for everyone. Auditions, while some people find them stressful, really aren't that big a deal.
After auditions and after callbacks and such, I ended up as Banquo in our recent McBee play. It was so fun, but it also was really hard, and you have to be able to be conscious about what you're going to do, as well as be conscious of what you're saying. So yeah, the balance is really difficult, but once you get that balance, you can be the strongest actor on that stage.
This year, since we're doing a Shakespeare performance, some of the language is a little bit more difficult, and one of my main goals as an assistant director is to make sure everyone truly understands what they're saying as they speak their lines. But this isn't just true for a Shakespeare show. Every show, you're going to have a character that has strange motivations, or maybe they're doing something that the actor themselves wouldn't necessarily do. The assistant director is someone who's going to take that actor and go, hey, look, what is your character actually talking about here? What are your characters actually doing in this scene? Maybe it's foreshadowing a different scene, or maybe they're looking back into the past. But no matter what they're doing, you really want to kind of help them to get a sense of, my character wants this, or my character needs this, or even my character feels this.
Throughout my years in theater, I've been in theater for all 4 years of high school and in middle school. I played mainly comedic characters. In Kiss Me Kate, I was one of the gangsters, and that's a very comedic character. And Macbeth is very much not a comedic show. It's very serious. There's a lot of dark themes and elements to it. And I kind of saw this opportunity to go into a different kind of acting, not acting for laughs, but acting to tell, all acting is telling a story, but telling a darker story, a more serious story, and to play a more serious character that isn't trying to get laughs all the time.
As a freshman, my first show was Tony and Tina's Wedding. So that was my first ever high school main stage production. I was part of the wait staff. So that was my introduction to drama here. After that, I did Mamma Mia, in which I was a featured dancer. And that sort of kicked off my featured dancer career, because in the next few musicals, I kept being a featured dancer. And then the musical after that was Fiddler on the Roof, where I played Huddle. Personally, I like musicals more than I like plays. Huddle being my favorite role was not only because it's in a musical and I just prefer those, But also she just had a really interesting dynamic of knowing that she was going against a tradition that she was supposed to do, but not going against her family in the process. Finding that balance was really interesting, and finding it with my parent in that show, Ethan, was also really fun because we could talk about it. We could talk about different sort of things that we can add to each other in the show to kind of make it feel like I still liked my family, but I wanted to do this instead. And that was just a really fun balance.
My very first real theater experience when I was 12 years old, I was in the ensemble of Beauty and the Beast. And one day I was sitting in the seats of the auditorium watching our Belle and Beast on stage doing a scene together. I sat there and I watched it at 12 years old, and I was thinking, well, what if they did this? And what if Belle moved across the stage that way? And from there, I should have known. It took me a little bit longer to realize that I really did want to direct these shows. But ever since I've started kind of working my way into tech sophomore year, I have really been able to impart my visions and kind of having those ideas. As student director, one of my main jobs is to work closely with Pafumi, who is our director, and to kind of make sure that everything we're doing runs as smoothly as possible. One of the main things I've been doing the past few days has been helping to run auditions. For auditions, I've been sitting in, watching everyone perform their monologues, asking plenty of questions, and trying to really get a sense for every person who comes through our department. As assistant director, I also work very, very closely with our head stage manager and both of our assistant stage managers to make sure that the cast and crew are one unit. Sometimes the cast and crew can become a little bit separated, but it's super, super important to keep them together and make the theatrical process all about teamwork. When everyone works together, the whole show is able to run much more smoothly. From the costumes, to the cast, to the props, to the lighting and the sound, and the pit musicians, everyone has an equal say in the theater and how the show should be run. As the assistant director this year, one of my main goals is to help the vision come to life. My job is to take what Pafumi does and expand it. What I've been doing in the past and what I will do in Macbeth is make sure that every single person in the cast and in the crew understands why they're there and what story they're actually trying to tell. I'll help them do that through their words and their actions, and sometimes just their body language when they're not speaking or doing anything. Even standing on the stage can have such a powerful presence, and it's my job to make sure that is delivered.
And that's what high school is about. It's about finding your why and your reason to live and your reason to get up and go to school every day and find that special place. And my room is a special place. It's different than any other room in this entire building. It's called the Black Box. That's the first lesson on day one. No one knows what's a black box. It's a place where it's a neutral zone where anything can happen and everything can happen. And it's a neutral place that starts as a small dream and grows, for me, into an entire career. So I hope that you consider being a part of our program and part of our family here at Herndon High School Theater. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you at the theater.